Hey folks, I'm Anand and welcome to MaverickEduCor. This is one of the most awaited video about the latest changes brought in by PTE, and these changes will be effective from 7th of August 2025 onwards. Let's straight away jump into the video. In today's video, we will be discussing the latest changes brought in by PTE very recently. At MaverickEduCor, we may not be the first ones to give you all the details in a hurry, but we will make sure to check all the sources and then give out the latest changes brought in by PTE. So let's go ahead and look at the video. Alright folks, let's move ahead and see all the detailed changes brought in by PTE. First and foremost, which tests are being impacted by PTE? PTE Academic and PTE Academic UKVI are the tests that are impacted by the latest changes, whereas PTE Core and PTE Home tests will remain unchanged. These are the two tests that are being impacted. Now, why is PTE bringing these updates now? It is because PTE is constantly evolving to stay relevant with the other competitors of English test. That is why you also need to stay relevant and adapt to the changes quickly if you want that 79 plus in the exam. Additionally, PTE is evolving towards real world or real life scenarios. Remember this point, we will deal with it in detail in the coming slide. Moving on to the next question, which is the most anticipated question. Would PTE exam be more difficult starting 7th August 2025? I would say it is a no and a yes, because the answer lies in the eyes of the beholder. It all depends on your perception, how you take things. If you feel it is difficult, of course it is difficult. If not, everything becomes easy. On the other hand, make sure we will give you all the details required for you to crack the exam. So don't worry and stay tuned to MaverickEduCor for more details. Moving on. PTE's approach is becoming more practical and relevant towards real-world scenarios with AI-first approach and human touch. This is one of the key things that they have mentioned in the new scoring guide. Next, the vast majority of the questions still remain the same with some slight tweaking. We will go ahead and look at it in the upcoming slides. So, what's changed in PTE? Let's look at an overview. There are two new questions that PTE is adding starting 7th August 2025 in the speaking module to align with real-world scenarios or real-life scenarios. Until 6th of August 2025, you will still get 20 questions. But after 7th of August 2025, you will get 22 questions overall in your PTE exam. Moving ahead, there is some change in skills and marks weightage for a few questions. We will look into it in detail in the video. Last but not the least, there is change in number of questions for the existing questions of PTE. There might be some increase in numbers or decrease in numbers. You will get to know everything in this video. Let's look at the next set of questions. Is there a change in the overall score now? Absolutely no. The overall score still remains capped at 90 marks for each module. So, will the new changes be valid for test takers before 6th August 2025? Absolutely no. The new changes will only be valid from 7th August 2025 onward. Moving on to the next question. Is the scored PTE test now updated to align with the new changes? Absolutely yes. To help the test takers appearing after 7th of August 2025, PTE is providing you sufficient time align practice with the new changes. Check the link in the description and read all the details before taking the scored practice test. There are 3 versions available in the form of version 1, version 2 and version 3. There would be a speck of doubt if I can still access the existing scored PTE test. Absolutely yes. For people who will be taking their exam before 6th of August 2025, you can still access the scored PTE test. It would be available until 6th of August is what I presume. Okay, so check the link in the description and read all the details before you take the practice test. To differentiate between the new and the old ones still have versions A to E, and the new ones will be version 1 to 3. This is how you can differentiate if you're taking the new practice score test or the old practice scored test. So finally, let's look at the 2 new questions added in the speaking module. First and foremost, PTE has added summarize group discussion. The next question is respond to a situation. This question already exists in PTE Core. These 2 new questions were already given as experimental questions few months earlier. So these are the 2 new questions that are added by PTE. Moving ahead, let's see if there are any additional changes that are happening in the background. I would say it's a big yes as per PTE scoring guidelines. Reason being, even though PTE says that it has an AI first approach to evaluate any test taker, there is a human intervention to check for scoring anomalies, and it always needs a human reviewer to check your content before scores are being finalized for the following questions, especially for describe image, retell lecture, summarize group discussion, respond to a situation, summarize written text, essay writing, and summarize spoken text. All these questions will have human intervention for content, and AI will score the other aspects of scoring. This is clearly mentioned in the new scoring guide of PTE. In the speaking module, PTE's AI software will still score your fluency and pronunciation. Content will be checked by a human for describe image, retell lecture, summarize group discussion, and respond to a situation. For these 4 questions of the speaking module, PTE will check for content using a human. Next thing. The human intervention is part of the process to validate the AI scores on the aspect of content only. This is very, very important for all these 7 questions. Whatever content you speak or you write, the content will be checked by a human to validate with the AI scores. If there is a difference in scoring between AI and human, there is a second human who will intervene to make a final decision to prevent scoring bias, especially related to content. Next, the AI software will continuously keep evolving based on the standards established through human findings and ratings for the content. So, AI software is always evolving. So, if you make any plated answers, it will automatically reject and give 0 marks. In case you give a templated response, your content will be given 0 for all the 7 questions that I have listed down there. On the other hand, if you get 0 for content, be rest assured that you will get 0 marks for that question type. PTE will not consider any other skills like pronunciation, fluency, grammar, or any aspect depending on the question type. Content is equal to 0, meaning 0 for that particular question. Next, if your content is not equal to 0, in those scenarios, depending on the question type, for example, in speaking, PTE will still consider your fluency and pronunciation. On the other hand, for writing tasks, they will consider your form, spellings, grammar, structure, coherence, so on and so forth. So all these things will still be measured if your content is not equal to 0. Alright folks, let's move forward and understand all the changes brought in by PTE effective from 7th of August 2025. I will explain all the details for every question. So let's begin with read aloud. In read aloud, until 6th of August 2025, PTE will measure your speaking and reading skills. Hence, you will be getting marks for your speaking module and your reading module. Come 7th of August 2025, PTE will just measure your speaking skills. Your reading skills will not be measured. Hence, you will be getting marks only for your speaking module. Now, what are the things that are remaining as it is? Number of questions, marks, all of this will still remain the same with partial credit for scoring criteria. Moving ahead to repeat sentence. As you can see, there is absolutely no change in the number of questions that you would get. The skills that are being assessed, it still scores based on your speaking and listening, and the number of marks too. Absolutely no change. Your content will still depend on how many words you can reproduce from the question prompt. Moving on to describe image question. Here, there is a slight change with how you will be scored for your response. Starting 7th August 2025, now PTE will measure your content based on AI evaluation and human evaluation, especially for your content. Earlier, since November 2024, PTE was measuring your content only if it flags your response for human evaluation. But now, AI and human both will evaluate your content. In case you get 0 for content, PTE will not measure any other skills. It will straight away give you 0 for that particular question. Moving on to retell lecture question. Here also, similar to describe image question, PTE will measure your response using AI and human evaluation. Now, what are the things that are getting changed? It is increasing the number of questions from 1 to 2 to 2 to 3 from 7th August 2025. Additionally, it is increasing marks for your content in comparison to 5 marks which was given earlier. For answer short question, until 6th of August, PTE will measure your speaking skill and listening skill. From 7th of August, PTE will just measure your listening skills. It will not measure your speaking skill even though you give a response. But the rest of the aspects about answer short question remain the same with number of questions, scoring criteria and mark. Moving on to the next new question that PTE will be adding from 7th of August 2025 onward. Summarize group discussion. This is a new question that PTE will be adding. Here, your response for content will be measured by AI and human, only for content. Whereas, your oral fluency and pronunciation will still be scored by an AI. Remember this. In summarize group discussion, you will get 2 to 3 questions and you will be measured for speaking and listening skills. Hence, you will get marks for your speaking module and listening module. You will approximately get about 6 marks for content, 5 for pronunciation and 5 for oral fluency. Moving on to your next new question, respond to a situation. Here also your content will be measured by AI and a human. So, your fluency and pronunciation will still be scored only by AI. Now, here in this particular question, you will get 2 to 3 questions and your skills will be assessed for speaking only, something similar to describe image. Whereas marks, you will get approximately 6 marks for content, 5 for pronunciation and 5 for oral fluency. Moving on to writing module questions. First and foremost, let's look at summarize written text. Here, there is a big change. Starting from 7th of August 2025 onwards, your content will be measured by AI and a human. Rest all aspects such as form, grammar and vocabulary will still be measured by an AI. Now, what are the other changes? PTE has increased the number of questions from 1 to 2. You will get 2 questions for sure. Earlier, you would just get 1 or 2. But now you will surely get 2 questions. And they have increased the marks for content from 2 to 4 marks. So, these are the only changes for summarize written text. Now, coming to spellings. Spellings was never evaluated by PTE as per their scoring guidelines. But if you commit mistakes, there could be a high probability that PTE will deduct marks. Reason being, you have to see the question and type your response. There is no room for making spelling mistakes here. So never make this mistake at all. Moving ahead to essay writing question. Similar to your summarized written text question, here also PTE will measure your content with AI and human evaluation. Rest all aspects will still be measured by AI. What is the other change? Now you will just get only one essay. Earlier there was a probability that you would get 2 questions for essay, but now you will just get one essay come 7th August 2025. But there is change in marks for content. Obviously, before you used to get 3, now from 7th August you will get 6 marks for content, and they have increased marks for development, structure and coherence from 2 marks to 6 marks. Additionally, general linguistic range is also increased from 2 marks to 6 marks. These are the changes for your essay writing question. Moving on to the reading module question. First and foremost, see here the title of fill in the blanks has been changed. It will no more be called fill in the blanks for reading and writing. It will just be called fill in the blanks drop down question starting from 7th of August 2025 onwards. Why? Because PTE will not be measuring your writing skills. Instead, it will just be measuring your reading skills. So for folks who are attending the exam till 6th of August 2025, PTE will be measuring your reading and writing skill for this particular question. The rest of the aspects will still remain the same. Moving on to multiple choice, multiple answers. Here they have just increased the number of questions from 1 to 2 to 2 to 3 questions. That is all. Moving on to reorder paragraph question, there is absolutely no change in this question. Moving on to fill in the blanks question. Earlier, this question was called reading fill in the blanks. Come 7th August 2025, it is changed to drag and drop. Fill in the blanks, drag and drop. Rest all aspects of this question will still remain the same. Moving on to MCQ in your reading module for single answer. Here they have just increased the number of questions from 1 to 2 to 2 to 3 questions. Moving ahead to the listening module, let's look at summarized spoken text. Here, as I had told you for the rest of the other 6 questions, this is a 7th question where PTE will measure your content with AI and a human as well. Rest all aspects will be still scored by AI. Now let's look at what's changed apart from this. PTE will be capping this question to just one question from 7th of August. Earlier, it could give 1 or 2 questions. That will be capped to 1 question. They have increased the marks of content from 2 marks to 4 marks. Rest all of form, grammar, vocabulary, spelling will still remain the same. Whereas PTE will still measure your listening skill and writing skill for this particular question. Moving to multiple choice, multiple answer question of the listening module. Currently, you will get 1 to 2 questions, whereas starting 7th of August 2025, you will get 2 to 3 questions for this particular question. Moving on to the next question of the listening module, fill in the blanks. Earlier, it was called listening fill in the blanks. Now it will be called fill in the blanks type in. Apart from this, as you can clearly see over here, until 6th of August, PTE will be measuring your listening skill and writing skill. Come 7th August 2025, PTE will not consider your writing skill at all. Hence, you will not be getting marks in your writing module. You will be getting marks only for your listening module. These things remain the same. The number of questions and the marks allocated for your listening fill in the blanks question. If you type in the correct spelling, only then you will be awarded marks in your listening module. Else, I'm sure you would get 0 if you type in incorrect spelling or if you leave the blank unanswered. Coming to highlight correct summary question. Currently, you will get 1 to 2 questions, whereas starting 7th of August, you will get 2 to 3 questions. Rest all other things remain the same. Moving on to multiple choice single answer of listening module. Here also currently you will get 1 to 2 questions starting 7th of August 2025. They have increased the number of questions to 2 to 3. Moving ahead to select missing word. Absolutely no change whatsoever for this question. Coming to the next question of the listening module, which is highlight incorrect words. Here also there is no change whatsoever. Moving on to the last question of your PTE exam from the listening module, which is write from dictation. On the foreground, there seems to be no change at all. But come 7th August, PTE might be changing something in the background, because now that you have seen a lot of importance is being given to content, maybe write from dictation also could be impacted due to this change. Maybe, I'm speculating this, PTE would consider just your prompt words, meaning maybe you can write variations of different spellings, but it may not consider extra words which were not there in the prompt at all. So, this still remains an open-ended question from PTE. Moving on to my take on the changes brought in by PTE. I strongly believe that PTE is moving towards relevancy with real world scenarios or real life scenarios. I'm very sure you could have seen that with the introduction of 2 new questions, respond to a situation and group discussion. Here PTE is trying to analyze whether you are able to listen to 2 or 3 speakers and whether you are able to comprehend and give out your own opinions about that discussion. Or maybe respond to a situation where PTE is testing whether you are able to respond to any kind of situation, whether you are able to come up with an answer to a particular situation. These are all real world scenarios. So this is why I'm telling PTE is moving towards real life scenarios. In addition to these 2 questions, there are changes with regards to content for describe image, retell lecture, summarize written text, writing essay and summarize spoken text. Here they have increased marks for content which is based on relevancy only with human evaluation. So be prepared, adapt to all of these changes because the exam is slowly moving towards real life scenarios. With all these major and minor changes, I strongly believe that PTE has taken a bold step in balancing out the exam. Maybe with regards to writing, reading, speaking or listening. It seems to have a balanced approach starting from 7th August 2025 onwards. Alright folks, we have come to the end of this video. In case of any doubts or any queries, make sure to contact us on the WhatsApp number or on the email ID mentioned right below. We are more than happy to help you. On this note, I would request you to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notifications for more such engaging content. I wish you all the best for your exams. Do well, folks.